So, you're interested in politics, either as someone who wants to engage in it or at least just understand it. But you keep seeing this term tossed around and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Partisanship. Bipartisan, non-partisan, multi-partisan, or just partisan, and it's starting to sound like some kind of rug or something. But what does partisan mean and why is it important for us to know it? So that's what I wanted to answer today. So this video is going to be about an explanation of what partisanship means. Like I've mentioned before, I see a lot of enthusiasm about engaging in the civic and political process, especially from young people. But I also see online some confusion about what this process looks like and all the details of it. Politics is really an expansive field, and there's so many pieces to it that it can be really difficult to understand all those moving parts. So I want to make videos explaining these kind of different aspects of politics in a sort of non-opinionated way to hopefully help any of you who are interested in getting involved on your campus or even off campus politically to better understand all these random terms that we toss around. So this is partisanship in a nutshell. So partisanship can take different forms, but it really is a consistent and public support for a specific political party. An example of partisanship is showing public or consistent support for, say, the Conservative Party here in Canada or the Labour Party in New Zealand. This could be donating, campaigning for, publicly advocating for, signing up to be a member for any of these parties. Where it gets blurry is if you're supporting a specific issue or cause that is directly connected to a specific political party. So I won't give any examples because these topics are always up to debate, but if you're looking at a specific issue, ask yourself if it is a specific political party that supports this, and if so, it leans more toward the partisan side. But you can also ask yourself, is it required that a political party support this, or is it just the nature of the times that has this being more of a partisan issue? But to start, we can define it as support for a specific political party. So now that we understand what partisanship is, we can use that as a platform to jump off and explain other aspects of partisanship. The first one we'll talk about is non-partisanship, and non-partisanship is support for a cause that isn't connected to a specific political party. A good example of a very popular non-partisan advocacy group is Citizens Climate Lobby, which is a climate change organization that works with political figures across the political spectrum to further some sort of policies or bills in relation to climate change. Another one could be a homeless advocacy group. In both cases, these organizations work with whoever is in power or whoever they get the opportunity to work with to advocate for a specific issue and hopefully pass legislation or policy that addresses the problems they're advocating for. Really what these nonpartisan groups do is raise awareness for certain issues or causes and work with whoever's in power to further these causes. Now, I want to bring it back to what I mentioned before, and that's that kind of gray area where a lot of advocacy and lobbying organizations existed. Some say they're nonpartisan, but a lot of them do act in a heavily partisan manner. They just avoid associations for whatever reason and masquerade themselves as nonpartisan. Now, not every organization is like that, but it is important for us to understand what the differences are. So the best way of filtering that is to just kind of look at what the organization is, what they advocate for, and what they do, where their partnerships come from, or the type of people they work with on a regular basis, and from there you can tease things out. True nonpartisan organizations always maintain an air of distance and don't affiliate with any specific party, and they advocate for their issues no matter what. The ones that kind of act partisan typically say they're nonpartisan, but you'll see them only kind of working with a specific political party or advocating on an issue that only a specific party really advocates for as well. I won't throw any under the bus, but when you're looking at different organizations, just keep an eye out for any that kind of double as a campaign arm and start really pushing people to vote for a specific party because that party is advocating for that issue. And if you support a specific political party, then that's great, but I would recommend you volunteer for that party instead. Next up is bipartisanship, and this term is really only seen on a regular basis in the United States because they have two main governing parties. In a lot of other countries and a lot of other democracies, they have multiple parties, so bipartisanship isn't as common of a term. This type of support is often referred to as cross-party support, and it's really when two political parties agree on a specific issue and try to collaborate or move forward together to enact legislation or to pass bills that has support from from quote-unquote both sides of the aisle. And then the final one is what's known as multi-partisanship, or unanimous consent is what it's sometimes called. This is when multiple parties, 3 or more, agree on a specific issue and work together to pass policy or vote in unison on a specific bill that's coming through government. Sometimes you'll also see cross-party support used here. It's kind of interchangeable, but this is the idea. This is more common in multi-party systems like in Canada or in places like Europe. And it's usually called unanimous consent because in most cases, if multiple parties are supporting an issue, then they typically have every sitting member support the solution or bill or policy. Very rarely do you have dissent there, but it does happen. Yeah, I don't see this term often. I've only really seen it in job postings in certain fields.
Hey everyone, it's Editing Andrew here. I did want to clarify one thing that I kind of glossed over, but it's important for us to know. And that's when we're talking about multi-partisanship. I had said that it's not common, and if you do see it, it's sometimes talked about in the parliamentary procedures or in government, but you actually see it a little bit more frequently in organizations that do political work. So there are PR firms that work in the government relations side of things or the political communications side of things, and there are advocacy organizations that do similar kinds of work. And sometimes those organizations refer to themselves as multi-partisan, and that's because members of their organization are partisan and they publicly support a specific party, but the organization itself has these types of members from across the political spectrum. And the goal with this is to have a sort of group of people who are able to interact with any political party and any level of government, or as many levels of government as possible, to make progress on whatever they want to do.
For what it's worth, in most political engagement, you will typically come across partisan opportunities. You support a specific party, or at least a policy or an issue that a specific party is supporting. Non-partisan is more on the advocacy side, because it really doesn't matter who's in power, you're just continually raising awareness and advocating for the issues that you are fighting for or that you care about. And you'll collaborate or work with whoever's in the driver's seat. So whatever you want to get involved in is up to you, but I hope this video clarifies the different types of opportunities that you can get involved in. If you're willing to support a specific party, then partisanship opportunities might be really good to check out. If you're not there yet, then I would really recommend looking for a non-partisan opportunity to get involved in. So I hope that helps clarify some things. If there's any political topics you want me to clarify or explain, then just leave a comment and let me know, or just send me an email at thecivicstudent@gmail.com. So let me know what you think. In the meantime, I'm going to go read a book. I'm reading a book right now on unconscious bias, which is really cool. So I'll let you know how it is. Other than that, take care.